Hey everyone. Okay, welcome. It's Saturday. This is actually going to be the last Saturday that we'll be doing this because we're going to switch to Fridays when it goes into September, that Friday freshness. But welcome to Hunter's Gathering. I am your host, Markeia McCarty. And yeah, this is your one-stop chill stop for everything that goes behind the games for Hunter's Entertainment and then just behind the games in general. And tonight we are not only going to be doing Outbreak Undead Zombie Year One recap. Remember, we've had 4 games, like a full campaign, the first campaign that we have had for Hunter's Entertainment for Year Zero. Not only that, but we will be doing a altered carbon character creation, and we will be doing all of this wonderfulness with the co-creator of Hunter's Entertainment, Ivan Van Norman.
We live? We is the internet on? Are we cool? Hi. Hello.
Hey.
How
Yeah.
are you?
Oh, I'm Mary.
It took you how many weeks to get me on my show with my company? How many weeks did it take?
Oh my god.
What week is this? Which one is this? I think I keep track with the moles on my hands.
Oh my god. I'm getting called out right now. I'm getting called out so bad. There were a number of committees involved with things of what the people wanted and when they wanted it.
Yeah.
And there were scheduling issues.
There's this one guy who's like, hard ban, no Ivan. Do not let that guy on stream because he will mess things up is what he will do. So
yeah, and since I'm the producer of this show, I guess that guy is me.
Hi. Yeah, hey. Man, it has been a nuts week. It's been fun. How are you doing? How's the gig, girl? How you doing?
You mean my new job, the new job I got, where I get to do what I want and talk about like game stuff with like interesting people and stuff. I think it's going pretty well.
It's okay.
I think that people like it. Got some fun stuff planned coming up. I'm gonna have a musical act next week.
Oh, a musical
act. Really looking forward to that.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited.
I don't know
if
you know him, Jason Charles Miller.
Yeah,
he's kind of like a rock star.
I hear he was part of like a cool band like 20 years ago. Or
oh my god, no, it's like right now, right now, good.
Dude, I have to say, I remember funny Jason Charles Miller story. I remember distinctly being like 15, 16 years old. This dates me, obviously, but and being in high school with my buddy who I lived like half an hour out of town. I grew up in the town of Eugene, which was like a, not like a metropolitan area, but it was a fairly big city. But I lived like half an hour out from there, like in the country, like in the woods, blackberry bushes, creek, like super, beautiful forest environment with all of the allergies, which was great. Like
I'm getting some serious Huckleberry Finn vibes right now.
I mean, that was the thing is we were in a valley. So like I lived on a hillside, but the whole point of the story is that the closest friend that I had who I could like go to their house and hang out with was like a guy who, we had a lot of fun. We were great, but he was the archetypical, like, early 2000s, like Godhead, Marilyn Manson, 9 Inch Nails, token up, watching music videos like every weekend kind of guy. And that was fun like some weekends, right? But it wasn't fun like every single weekend, which is kind of like his regular pattern. We played like Sonic, Marble Madness, and like watched 9 Inch Nails music videos while he smoked weed. But one of the things that was on his constant rotation cycle was like the Godhead cover of Eleanor Rigby. And so later, upon meeting Jason Charles Miller and like being like, oh, this guy's fun, we're playing role-playing games together and going into it, and then like that was on my old school playlist, like just porting over all my old MP3 files again from the
What?
early 2000s. And I just kind of came on one day, the Eleanor Rigby track from it. I was like, where's it, Jason Charles Miller? What? Oh, and then like it all came together. It was just like it all morphed and came into a single state of understanding that, oh, oh,
Ooh.
oh.
Ooh. Oh my God. I love that realization so much. But it's like the people that you work with and play with, and then all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, no, I like heard you in this movie, or I listened to your
Right?
music,
Yeah.
or this video game.
It's
And
exactly what happened, where it was just kind of, I just finally realized that not only did he do all of the voice career stuff that he was, but it's like, but he was like, he was not a small deal back then, in that original stage with like, he was part of like basically industrial metal in the Rammstein, I like to call the Rammstein era. So
oh my gosh. Yeah, no, and we're gonna have like a freaking blast with him.
that's good. That's
Yeah, that'd be
awesome.
Friday next week at 6
Cool.
p.m. PT. But it's like not only, musical realness with Jason Charles Miller, but I don't know if you know this, so I will inform you now, Ivan. We're going we're going to do a early play test of Ragnarok.
Oh, so you're gonna run it a little bit, or is he gonna run it? Who's gonna run
Oh,
it?
actually, you're gonna run it.
Oh,
You're
oh,
gonna run it.
next
Yeah.
Friday?
Crap, did we not let me talk to my other producers here in
Okay,
my room right
as long
now
as
in
it's not
my
at
office?
2 o'clock, then we can do it.
Did we not inform Ivan? Was this not a
This is
damn?
my life. This is totally what it
Um
is to run a company, by the way. This is 100% what it is to own a
yeah,
publishing company. And especially when you staff up. It's just like, oh, I'm okay, I'm doing that. That's fine. All right, whatever.
yeah. And you know what the kicker of it is that literally last week I did this whole thing with the art director Caleb Cleveland, where I got my character drawn, so we've known
I saw that.
about
Yeah.
us running this playtest for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, you expanded from the original like Galactic Leotard into like an Immortan Joe, like crazy. The hair, like the electricity hair, was kind of my
Oh
favorite bit in that whole
yes,
concept art.
she is
So
a thick goddess with 3 C's, and I am
ah,
so about her adventure that she's gonna have
yeah,
next week
that's
for the
fun.
group.
We had another really good playtest session on what day is it? Friday. On Friday.
Oh yeah,
Yesterday? Yes, it was
yeah.
yesterday.
Was that
Uh,
yesterday or was that 3 weeks ago?
I
Because that's 2020. It really, really is.
yep.
How did the playtest go
It was
yesterday?
good.
Yeah.
We went to that like stage in playtesting when you're like, okay, everyone who, is gonna like forgive you if you do it awful, right? Is played it. And so the whole team had a chance to kind of go over it. We got a lot of great notes. Everyone had really good things to say. And then this next one was like, okay, I feel like the rules are refined enough that we can take it out of the inner circle and like go to just a trusted group of people who may not know me and may be relatively related to some other people there, but they aren't going to be like, they aren't going to have that desire to say, oh yeah, no, this is really good, just to like make me feel good, right?
Oh, is
You know
that
what
what
I mean?
people that know you do? Because
Yeah.
I try to make it harder on you. Is that just me? I'm gonna ask my
That's
other
okay.
producers
The
here.
true friends, the true friends have true
Yeah.
sight when it comes to feedback, is what it is. But no, the point is that it was the whole thing was is to make it so that they had no reason to be anything other than honest, because they're like, oh well, this is good, but then they want to dress it up to not make me feel bad, because the whole point of playtesting is to aggressively say, this is what was fun, this is what was not fun, so that we can adjust and pivot appropriately, right? And then the next stage after that is a blind play test, which is just they don't even have the anchor of which to have me do it. We just hand it to them and be like, okay, you run the game, as if you
Oh,
were a customer picking it up off the product. How does it feel? And blind playtesting is the thing that every game needs, but so many games never have the time to do. Just because of production schedules and timelines and everything like that. And it's only the games that have really scheduled their time ahead and have basically said, okay, well, this is the window, this is the time in which we're going to be doing play testing, like all of that. It's so hard to be able to have that humility to basically like hand them a manuscript and be like, okay, now you run the game. And it takes a very special GM to see all of that not in the layout stage, just to read words on paper and be able to run it at the same time too. And that's where it gets like tough. Like when we were doing blind playtesting for Altered Carbon, that's when we really saw all of the cracks in the facade, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, this is where everyone's having real trouble at. We need to go back over it again and again and again.
yeah. Oh, like we totally went over playtest and blind playtest when I had Spencer Stark on, like way
Yeah,
before I had you on. The
way before,
way before.
weeks
I think I was
before.
like, that's gonna be my first show, not Ivan. Spencer no, but we went over like the different levels of like having to do play testing, where you can find people to help with your play tests when it comes to games, like outside of conventions. Like you can find it on Facebook groups, you can
Right.
find it at Discord, our Discord, if you're going to be play testing our games, type of a deal, to like join the play test that we
It's
would
one of the
have.
best parts about being on our Discord right now, is just like people who are on our Discord be able to have that kind of first access to, yo, you wanna, like, I think I just threw it in chat earlier, but one of the things we're going to start implementing, and it's totally not an unoriginal idea, but we're going to be implementing, we're bringing grammar robots back to Ultra Carbon, back to Hunter's Entertainment. And all that basically means is, way back in the day when we had a we had our first website, Markeia, had a vanilla forum, which was a post forum. It was literally like a BBS bulletin board forum, in which it actually looked very similar to what our Discord is now, but it was just like, type in a reply, post, type in a reply, post. Oh, that's me.
Are you echoing a little bit? Yeah. Yeah, so go ahead and check that for our chat room. Love how responsive y'all are for everything. And then shout out to Critter Nation 3000, where it's like, hi Ivan, hi Markeia. Such cute emojis. I
Best
love
emojis,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Seriously, the best ones. That was my fault, yeah, because I put up roll 20 like I was preparing for character creation, and for some reason wouldn't actually put up my little mute button. So we'll deal with that during the break. But
Yeah, no, and I like Penguiny 11 is like, well, now you're obligated to make a vengeful hamster Ragnarok character.
I okay,
Um,
that's
JB
fair.
Jara is the hamster running on the wheel,
Well,
and now we have to make a vengeful hamster character in
you
the
can just
spirit of JB Jara, who is our tech wizard, running all of
JB
our
al-
ish.
JB already made a character though. He already did Unworthington, so now he just is obligated to turn Unworthington into and he's now got to be like, it's got to have hamster like features now, or he has to be like, if a furry fan decided to come into and do Ragnarok but also be Unworthington. I think you did a follower. You were a Blood Guard, but you were a follower of Calamity, right, JB? Yeah, he doesn't know, he's not talking in, but that's from,
Yeah.
yeah, it's Diomidius. That's right. That's what I'm getting into
That's
it.
a good name. I like how people in Ragnarok, like me, my character is Carthusis, because
Right.
literally this character is uh oh my god, now I can't say the word right. Is a Carthusis is Carthitic for me. Is that a word?
Oh,
Do
it's
y'all know
it's
what I mean
cathartic.
right
It's,
now?
you're just saying it's
Carthitic.
cathartic.
Carthitic.
It's Carthitic. No, it's cathartic.
Cathartic, because I'm Carthusis. Cathartic. Like this character is cathartic for me, which is why She is like this badass old school wrestler with like wolves for boot and a piranha cape. All this wonderful stuff that you will be able to see next week when we are hitting into that Ragnarok playtest realness.
So cool, 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 great, great, great. Anyway, grammar robots. Okay, so grammar robots.
This is why I haven't had you on until now. Please continue with grammar robots.
Uh, the whole point of grammar robots is we back in the day when we had this bulletin board style post, when people would be like, "Oh, I found this mistake here, page 53, there's a blatant typo," or like, "Oh my god, what in the hell are you guys even trying to say during this sentence?" When like the original Outbreak, we're like, "Ugh, yeah, okay, good point. You are now officially a grammar robot because you checked us up on our junk." And that was like our early playtesters, and those playtesters became proofreaders, but then the GMs became the action rangers. These are just names we come up with. If anyone's ever going to ask why,
I love this. No, I love this. Like, think about the tiers for our subscription, and
right?
those out there, if you're not subscribers yet, think about being subscribers because our subscription tiers are pretty boss that we have. I only remember my favorite one, which is like the top one. And I think it's like Pirate Ninja. I forget.
I
I forget our
believe
subscription tiers right this second, but I love the names.
they're fun. They're absolutely fun, and I'm actually having a hard time. I remember it was. I think it had something to do with dinosaurs, but I can't remember exactly. So,
Yeah. I mean, if
um,
our mods are beautiful, wonderful mods, if you can like put in the chat what our subscription tiers
yeah,
are.
Beekeeper
Beekeeper
Rogue.
Rogue,
That's
Dinosaur
what it
Assassins
is.
is tier 2.
Okay. Yeah, Ninja
Ninja
Cafe.
Cowboy is a third one. And I'm like, dude, Ninja Cowboy.
But to be fair, though, the grammar robots, what they get to do is, and I want to make this abundantly clear, is
Mm.
that they are 100% just voluntarily. We do still have proofreaders. We still pay our proofreaders. We pay our editors. These are things that happen. So it's not just a, hey, free editing service for Hunters Entertainment. It's like for people who want to volunteer after, and most of the time, this is people catch this stuff even after 2 or 3 rounds of proofreading anyway, because surprise, Altered Carbon's 300 plus pages. That's a lot to get through, even for people who are paid to scroll through the whole process. So, but for our grammar robots out there, and we're going to get into it because one of the things we're doing, especially since we're all on the Twitch now, and the first major game we have in development during the whole Twitch overview is Gods of Metal Ragnarok. I'm super excited to be able to get it in front of our Discord, in front of everyone. The early alpha of the game is like, since it's all internally, and this is something I've been made really clear to us, but it's like one of the reasons we're doing this and we can be so open book with Gods of Metal Ragnarok is because it's not a license. We couldn't do this stuff with Altered Carbon. They're very, very, Skydance was very specific about what we could release to the public and under what kind of circumstances, and that's not uncommon for licenses. They want to control what their brand looks like before it goes out into the world, which is 100% their prerogative and contractually obligated to do. But with Gods of Metal, which is completely in an eternal brain child of all of us here, it's like, yeah, no, go, dude, check it out. Like, I mean, trust me, if I could just post the manuscript now and wouldn't be embarrassed by it, I'd do it right now. But I'm not, because I want to make sure it looks good before you all see it.
And those that haven't had a chance to yet, if you see last week's Hunters Gathering, it was titled Game Art Design. Then we did that with Caleb Cleveland. And with that, we go into like the environments of Ragnarok. It's like a really great sneak peek preview with that.
Super
Thank you,
cool.
Bruce, for giving us, like that sneak peek preview. Along with that, like building my character that I'll be doing with the
Right.
play test that's coming up for this upcoming week. But with that, you not only get that, drawing of the character, but you also not only get into the look of an art director's mindset when it comes to things that comes with like game design, but also you get like these full behind descriptions of some of the character classes that you will run into in Ragnarok. Of course, it is a possibility that this may change at the time of publication, but don't we all love like these sneak peeks, like with everything, like to just know where it started to then wherever it ends up progressing? Speaking of which, how about we jump into some light news and then go into the the Hunters Presents zombie recap for year one that we can do real quick. So year zero, because it's not year one yet, because we don't know if they will survive to year
Year
one.
one is from year zero to year one. Like one of the things that Chris always hammered me home on, and but he's right every single time he says it. It's like there is no, outbreak level zero and outbreak level one and outbreak level two and outbreak level three. These aren't year one, year five, year 10. Like that does not make sense. Like the difference between outbreak level zero, which is hey, everything's normal, right? And outbreak level one when all hell breaks loose. Like depending on what the strain is, you could go from outbreak level one to outbreak level two in weeks very quickly.
Oh,
Outbreak level three can take decades potentially to get into it. So I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you constantly with small tidbits of
don't
things as we
worry.
get
I
into
will totally tap back whenever it's necessary
it.
because I have no problem with that.
Yeah, but year zero. No, it's true. This is the first year
Yeah.
zero. Everything's going on. I like to call it, out day one of the outbreak or whatever it is. But it's always when the worst of humans and the best of when the infected are the best and the humans are the worst kind of situation.
Woof.
So
Woof. I like
yeah,
that. I like
yeah.
that description a lot. And those that are wondering about day one versus, I'm sorry, day zero versus year zero, we actually did a Gen Con live stream where we did day zero with the same GM, B Dave Walters. And you can check that out on VOD, either on Twitch or on YouTube. And also check out year zero, which, that campaign up to this point has completed. But let's talk about some quick news that we have for Hunters Entertainment in general. Alice's Missing PDF is now available on Drive Through RPG, and the Roll20 version is also available. Both of these went live on Tuesday of this week, and currently they are the top three best selling titles. Ivan, what?
So how this
Top
works.
three on Drive Through
So first of
RPG.
all, that doesn't happen very often.
Holy
Like
crap! No, it doesn't.
I mean, when especially not for us, like there'll be often like when games come out, like when Alien first came out, or like right now it's things like Ancestry and Culture, and the Witcher Journal, and some of the things, and or like the new Star Trek from Odysseus that came out. So just like everything, it's kind of like in when Board Game Geek, when you go to Board Game Geek, and it's like the hotness right now, and and it will literally show these are all of the like this is what people are buying right now. So we just basically Alice is Missing since Tuesday went from going live, kind of softly launching, all the way to becoming a silver seller on drive through, which is always they kind of tier up based on how many units are sold. And silver is still pretty low down the line. It's just like it goes copper then silver, but the still just have to do it from Tuesday and to have it be up there and have it be right on the front page. Like that's the thing that's always the best because it's right there on the front page and it says a silent role playing game. So super exciting. We knew that like we couldn't wait to get this PDF out to people. We wanted backers to have like a very reasonable amount of time to have it before we going into it. But like right now, with everything that's going on, this is a game that people need to have in their hands like right now. Like this is the time to play this
Oh,
game.
it so is. This is the right and proper time for
The
people
right
to
and
have
proper.
this.
It's the
The
right
right
and
and
proper
proper
time.
time to
Yes.
be able to explore this title and everything that it has to do. I mean, with
Make your
us,
tea, get your crumpet, sit down. It's
yes,
time to play this game.
proper time. The
Go and
proper
dive
time
into
for
Silver
all of
Falls
this.
still and go and find Alice. She's out there somewhere. Go get her. But
For
yes.
every bit of Alice Briarwood, we must find her, we will locate her, and we will do it together via our electronic devices.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
I've had friends like this week that have like contacted me. I know Zero Dork 30, and then two of my other friends were actually in a game that Spencer Stark ran for them. And they are just so feeling Alice is missing. Being part of the live stream that we did for Gen Con, I understand. It's an intense game, and I just want everybody to experience it. It's one of those things. You just
Yep. It's just one of
especially
those
with
things.
everything being electronically right now. We can't be in the same location. So that's one of okay. So for new stuff, we also have Hunters merch available on our website. That's huntersentertainment.com/merch.
Oh wait, merch is up. Merch is up.
Merch
Hold on.
is up.
Oh
Merch
God,
is
we
up.
did it. We
Yes,
did.
we
We've been
did.
working
And
on this
each
for
week we'll
forever.
update our selection of products available. If you happen to miss out, we will repeat designs in like future collections. So don't worry to that. But you might want to subscribe to our newsletter to be notified when that happens. Because when it happens and it sells out, that's just a thing. That's just a thing.
We make some cool covers. I'm not gonna
Yep.
lie. And we put these covers on t-shirts. Like it looks like Zombov is up there right now. And
Yes.
it's a full graphic tee, not like those little dinky like, and this is one of our OGs, right? This is like our OG t-shirt.
Your zombie
The
survival plan will fail.
right, and these
Asterisk.
ones fun, which may or may not come back. I don't know. I'm leaving that up to
Yeah.
Christian.
There's
But
no
the
asterisk next to lose.
no, it just says fail. It because the reason it says wrong one, wrong nipple. This one's it has the asterisk on it because in the back it still has the we can help with that. Ooh, Outbreak Undead.
I
Uh,
like that.
yeah,
I like
it's so
that.
fun. I mean, but these zombie ones, they look super dope, and they're a full graphic tee. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Super.
So for those, like Ivan just said, the first rotation features Zombie in celebration of concluding our Year Zero mini series, which, like I said, we did this. This was Tuesdays. We did at 8:30 p.m. PT. Like all this month, we will be going into Altered Carbon in September, and that will be at 6 p.m. PT. So that's one of the reasons why we are doing an Altered Carbon character creation tonight, just to be able to help you through those like crunchy numbers and everything,
Yeah, it's a thing. And right
blend
now,
and dive foil.
we're gonna enjoy it for the process of just being able to keep getting your hands on, because the one thing, again, big difference between Alice is Missing and Altered Carbon at the moment is that Altered Carbon PDF will probably be coming out to folks closer to the actual physical release of the books, into when it can be available in retail stores. But for the moment, Alice is Missing is there. Go forth, grab it. There's some cool art. Spencer's already mocked up some cool ones, but Spencer mocks up cool things all the time. We're gonna make it and put it into a fun, like actualized like some stuff in there as well too. And of course, like you said, other things. Christian's got the pulse on the merch. He's in the chat. Bug him for cool stuff you want to see. Don't talk to me. Don't bother me because I don't know what's going on clearly. So
Yeah, and if you want to check out some previous episodes of Hunter's Gathering, we have like a full Alice is Missing deep dive that we do, where we go into artwork, we go into motivations, we go into all of those little questions that you might have for why this card, why this character type of thing. We go into that with Spencer Stark, and you can catch that out in our VODs, like with the Twitch channel, or on YouTube. I believe it is on both. But for right now, let's go ahead and go into a quick deep dive into the first campaign that we have had on our Twitch channel, where it is Outbreak Undead, Strain series Zom V, because Outbreak Undead was the first series that ever happened with Hunters Entertainment, and this company is 10 years young.
finally, right? Like
Right.
I've been producing live play content freelance for years. Obviously, because that's how I met you as well too. But we've been producing all of this live play content for Geek and Sundry, Critical Role, Hyper. Like I was there when it was just still Zach, and then Zach became Hyper, and then there was 4 other Twitch producers that went through GNS, and then there was just so much out there. And then on top of that, like other people started getting into it, and we started just watching people do D&D streams everywhere. And we had, I mean, I don't mind saying, Kia, and I'm sure you know too, but we had big plans for what we want to do with our live stream content in like a studio space before The vids, the
before
COVID. we had
before before the pandemica.
we had so many cool things we were gonna do. We had space lined up. We had
Wow.
beautiful things, and so eventually, because we had this altered carbon live play, which I don't mind telling backers now, and I don't mind saying it because this is true, and you can all yell at me or wear your I blame Ivan Van Norman because you'll be totally worth
Which
doing
is
that in this
available on
circumstance.
Void
Worth
merch.
March,
If
but
you want to do that, I
go
blame Ivan
go
Van Norman.
just support Jordan. Just
Sure.
I love him. Give him money. Make fun of me. Give him money. I don't care. Please though, Jordan's a great guy.
But
Uh,
please continue.
but but we really we invested that live play money, that full live play money, and top of more. So it was just we put all of that, like this is a 4-part Altered Carbon live play stream. Well, we're going to use that to, in addition to extra money, put it all into our Twitch channel, because guess what? Now we're doing this. Right? Like, how are we going to go and support a 4-part live play Altered Carbon series and get that all done, when we have no access to a studio? And at the time, we were going to be partnering with Penny Arcade as well too. But that was when Seattle was at its worst, and so Penny Arcade, amazing people, wonderful. We were hamstrung to be able to say, we have to go forth. We have to still make promotional content for this stuff. And we're still there. Like we were like, oh well, maybe, but just like everyone else, we're like, oh maybe. No, 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 no. We're in this. We're in this for a while. So let's make some Altered Carbon content, right? Which is what's
Right?
happening.
Yeah, we're not gonna wait on this train. This
Yeah.
train is leaving the station, and we're gonna load stuff up into this, and we're gonna enjoy the diner car. I've got a lot of analogies that I can do right
It's
now.
fine. Did we announce cast or any of that for Altered Carbon
Oh,
yet?
for Altered Carbon, you know what? Let's go ahead and do an announcement for Altered Carbon before we go into the clip for our recap for Zombie that we just completed. For our cast that we will have for Altered Carbon, I am so pleasantly surprised to announce that so our GM for our Altered Carbon run coming up in September, starting the first Tuesday in September. This will be 6 p.m. PT will be the start time of this. We have Xander Genre. I can't pronounce his last name right. Genre.
Genre. It's
Genre.
okay. No,
I don't think I've ever had to say his last name out loud, even though I've been on so many shows with this beautiful being. So we have Xander Genre that will be our GM for our Altered Carbon run. Your players will be repeating from their previous explorations into the zombie survival landscape into this new futuristic steampunk, like I'm sorry, not steampunk, cyberpunk landscape that you will have with Altered Carbon. We have Michelle Wynn Bradley, Louis Carrazzo, Melee Damage, and then also myself, Markeia McCarty, and we will be
comes with the
your
territory.
crew.
Comes with the territory. You get a
And
Markeia. You want to watch a show. You get a Markeia. She's there. She's part of the package. You gotta watch it because the Markeia's in it.
it's one of those things. So enjoy it.
Oh, he's
Just
and
accept, just
there's
accept and enjoy it.
there's some amazing art flowing around. We're partnering Xander with one of our supplement writers for this specific series, and it's been wonderful watching the banter back and forth between them. They have some great ideas that are coming out, and I think it will be super fun for you to go to check out. And for the people who are like, oh, is Outbreak Undead going to be coming back? Don't worry. Like, trust us, we got time, y'all. There's going to be plenty of time to keep playing and looking and watching all of these games and going back and forth and back and forth. The one thing that we do know, Tuesdays
Tuesdays,
Tuesdays at
yes.
6. You're always going to get to see a game.
6 p.m. PT. And then you might know Altered Carbon Bay City very well. So we're just saying what we will most likely be bringing to you this upcoming Tuesday will be something completely different that you would have to tune into to thoroughly enjoy the difference that you would have if Bay City is
Sneak peek. Sneak peek. It's an early look. You should just go to it because it's an early look at something cool. Just do
early
it.
look. It's an early look at a supplemental. And you know what? We've talked about this on other hunters gatherings, the very first one that we did for Gen Con Line. So we talked about two simple mentals on there. Just, you know what, just revisit that in any case. So for the rest of the little light news that we have right now, oh, actually we finished the light news. Okay, so let's go into the Hunters Presents recap right now for Outbreak Undead Zombie Year Zero. We have this where we have our zombie survivalists that are uh, they're going from Logville into the next leg of their adventure. So go ahead and enjoy this clip. And when we come back, we are going to talk about all things Year Zero campaign and then cut right into our Altered Carbon character creation because you asked for that. And you know what? Honestly, we wanted it too. So we will see you after this clip.
And yes, they were spider-like creatures. You did see carcasses of infected rats. You did see that. But what came pouring out of the library were infected spider-like creatures about the size of a man's hand. You all did end up setting the library on fire, especially through some clutch crossbow work of Madison there. Who got
Fire's the only way to deal with spiders.
It's a nuke the site from orbit. It is the only way, to be sure. Yes. And after your dramatic slow walk out of the place, yes, your brother Jake told you, run, finish your mission. We got this. Go. And you all loaded into the ambulance and sped away as the library on the old Los Angeles Valley College was going up into flames. You had made it onto the freeway and were heading south towards your destination of theoretically Malibu. And that is where we will restart with Bean inside. Bean, now that you're conscious in checking out the wound.
You have a question about all that. Does any of my health or anything, should I write something here? Like, like my stats, does anything change?
So funny you should ask. One of the things that we have not been doing up until now is difficulty dice, which are the black dice. You were going to add 3 difficulty dice to everything you do, Bean. So when you roll now, you're going to roll 3 black D6s between pain, being mildly drug-addled on painkillers, and quite frankly, only having 1 arm now.
Oh, cool.
Those are the. Oh no, I hadn't forgotten. I was just going to tell you at a dramatically appropriate moment.
Getting a bright notepad, so I remember that. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Bean, as you look at the stitch work, it's not inelegant, but 2 hours ago you had an arm. And that is where we come back here into the ambulance, roaring its way downtown. You find, true to their word, the kids didn't really rob you. The medical supplies have clearly been rifled through. You definitely got for some bags of cookies and chips, although you notice a couple of jars of preserved fruit have shown up. What is probably squirrel jerky. You can basically see some involuntary bartering took place. They definitely took some things, but they left some other things. And I forgot one very important thing. To commemorate the finale, we are going to be giving away a copy of the Zombie Supplement. And the only thing you have to do is still be in chat at the end of the show. So not unlike they have to survive to the end, so do you. But then you will be able to take this setting and make it your own and tell your own delightfully awful stories for people that you care about.
Hey, Bean, you all right there?
Yeah, I'm doing great. No arm, arm. Yeah. No, no. If I'm being honest, it's not super cool how that all went down. But
There's only 1 bag of Nabisco left. I saved it for you. Squirrel jerky's not bad though.
Well, I'll take the cookies. The cookies would look better if I have a choice.
And Madison will like kind of look at you for a second and then be like, "Oh yeah," and then she'll open it for you and hand it to you.
I just opened my mouth because I'm laying down, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Now, I'm going to ask one more time. I'm not turning this around at all. We're still going to Malibu.
I mean, the plan hasn't changed. I mean, we still have to get the boat for everybody else, especially now. We can't expect to be able to fight off a bunch of ragers on the regular. There's got to be better than this.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen anything like that before. The spiders, the rats, the flying things. We need to get out of here because this is those groups of people that are left surviving are holding on by a thread. And I hope my brother is going to be okay, but I don't know. And it's just a matter of time before it gets to us. Hang in there, Bean.
Cookies. I really thought that it was gonna be okay for a couple of months we were hanging out in the big box, but just now that we're out in the city, it's getting worse. Everyone, it's not getting better. We're not dealing with it. I mean, this is yeah, we need this boat. We need it. I'm done. I think I'm done with dry land and zombie spider rat dogs, and maybe there's spider dolphins too, or maybe there's zombie dolphins too, but I want to take my chances out there.
Yeah, come to think about it, I know that the plan was eventually Hawaii, but especially now knowing that these things can fly and that animals can like get infected and that's a thing, it's probably bad there too. I think if we look for a boat when we get there, like, yes, a yacht, but let's try and find the biggest one we can find, because I think maybe just staying in the middle of the ocean might actually be probably not a bad idea.
Well, we'll see how well we can stock it, and then, I mean, once we get the boat, and we will get this boat. Um, then whatever we can get on it, and I mean, eventually we'll have to go into port, but that's a future problem kind of a thing, and we just have to do this now
Let's
so
look for
that we
one
can
with
have a future to look forward to.
let's look for one with like lifeboats or something when we get there, something that we can take smaller boats back to shore with, or maybe maybe we can rig something up in the back where we tie a couple of like smaller boats to it to drag it out with us. That way we never really have to take the big one back to land ever. We can just do running missions on the smaller ones.
That's a great plan.
Nathan, give me a spot listen. Because to remind you all, though, you all are in an armored ambulance, and over the driver's side is armored with steel. It's got a sliding door where the passenger, the person in the shotgun position, literally in the shotgun position, can see out to the front. And there's also a slide on the armored window to the side, just big enough to kind of get the barrel of a gun through. The driver's side window is, of course, completely open, and there is some armor on the driver's side, but of course, the driver has to be able to see. So there's a bit of a wider slit. There are some like iron panels on the side that, again, have just been repurposed, and the same on the back. It's metal with eye slits. Out of the top, there is a place that you can flip it open as almost kind of like a crow's nest shooter position to come up, which Madison has rigged that you can kind of hook it to your back to give you kind of an impromptu bit of protection behind you while you're out in shooting. There's also sort of like a small cattle prod grill on the front where you can kind of bust through some things, but I mean it's by no means an armored car. But yes, Nathan, spot listen.
19 out of 39, so that's 2 degrees of success, correct?
2 degrees of success. Up ahead, you see a helicopter flying over the freeway, definitely coming your direction. You're heading straight south, it's heading straight north.
What the fuck? Someone still has those running? Shit. I pointed out to the group so they know what I'm cursing.
Once he points it out to you, you all can sort of, because I mean, presumably, you're sliding open, poking your head out. Madison, do you poke your head out the top, or do you just kind of like try and squint through the front windshield?
I wait to take my turn. And I say, if he's coming this way, maybe don't move. Just look like an abandoned car. No reason to give him alarm to hassle us.
No chance that these are good guys that are going to help us.
Not sure. Not willing to take the chance. It's up to you, though. It's your call.
Would we be able to stop? Would they already know that we were moving?
I'm going to stop anyway to see.
You don't know. Yeah, you're gonna pull to a stop.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you stop. The rest of you do give me your, actually, well, if you're going to stop here and wait in time, you will see it. As it gets closer and closer and closer, it is very much a military helicopter. It is like a sleek black Apache, which Apaches have clusters of rockets under the wings on the helicopter. You realize most of the missile canisters are empty, but you see it's still got two. And it is just flying right over the middle of the freeway. And as you guys stop, it just flies right over you. I mean, but it is super low. It's maybe 40 feet off the ground. Like it barely clears like the bridges and things when it goes over.
Madison tries to tune the radio to see if she can pick anything up coming from them.
As you sort of turn through your CB, that again, the radio setup is right in front of the passenger side. That's part of the reason why the window is armored and blacked out, is they could fit more things in there. And all civilians report to the U.S. military. Command Base Freedom at the intersection of the 101 and the 405. We have food, we have medical supplies. We are here to protect you in the reclaiming of Los Angeles. I repeat, all civilians, please report to Forward Base Camp Freedom at the intersection of the 101 and the 405. You realize after a few seconds it's a recording. He just kind of keeps saying the same thing over and over again. We have food, we have medicine. We are here to protect you in the retaking of Los Angeles.
Still say it's a 50-50 shot, guys. There's a
I
good
agree.
chance it is what it is, and a good chance it's somebody else trying to lure us in.
The helicopter was heading where we were coming from, or
Yeah, no, knowing what you guys are kind of headed on the 405 south to the intersection of the 405 and the 101. This is
Right.
coming north from there. Like, if there is a military base there, it very much makes sense why you saw a military helicopter come from there. And as you look, it sort of just, flies off into the distance. It so happens the pilot rolled awfully on his spot lesson, so really didn't see a thing. Just.
Ooh. I'm gonna wait until
I know this is a weird thing to say, but can we trust them?
I mean, this whole experience has taught me anything, is you can't trust anybody or anything or any animal or. I mean, nothing's safe except for the people you already know at this point. And even then,
they have resources, obviously. If they can get one of those things to work like that still, then they have a lot more than we do.
That's true. Do you think they would stop us from, if we went there, do you think they would stop us from being able to leave and getting to Malibu?
I think they have their own agenda, and then we would be subjected to whatever that is. They're not going to let a group of, I don't know, 3 3/4 of us, sorry, Bing.
Welcome back, everybody. Yes, we are going to talk about the full campaign that we had. It was 4 episodes for Outbreak Undead Zombie Year 0. And your players for that, well, your GM is B. Dave Walters. We also have Michelle Wynn Bradley, Melee Damage, Louis Carrazzo, and myself, Markeia McCarty, playing the characters respectively Ben Lee, Nathan Marquez, Madison, and then also Pharaoh that you have. So we're going to talk this foolish campaign campaign. We're going to talk that right now. So yes, spoilers will be involved with stuff. We are going to talk that with Ivan Van Norman, co-creator of Hunters Entertainment. Keeping in mind, this is the first campaign for our Twitch channel for Hunters Entertainment. There, there will be more campaigns to come, but let's get into this survivalist horror that features zombies. But keep in mind that the survivors are the forefront of everything like this. We have our first episode was Into the Fire. And in that particular episode, we get thrown into the fire by our GM, B. Dave Walters. And with that, we find out, amongst a number of other things, the characteristics of our characters. For instance, I'm sorry, Bean Lee, played by Michelle Wynn Bradley, is a hoarder. I like to refer to her as a snackaholic type of a deal. Along with that, we get to know better Madison's character, Melee Damage, her character, Madison Martell. And with that, we know that she is a doomsday prepper, like a woodsy individual that is really handy with a crossbow and also has a penchant for fire. And that comes into play a lot during the entire campaign. And then also Luis Carrazzo, who is Nathan Marquez, is a former party boy with a BOI type of a deal and has just like come into his own Nathanness with being part of the Rangers of this party that goes out from their base, which is it's known as Fort Box, but it's actually Coopco, which is not IKEA. And then my character that I play, Pharaoh Moore, and she was in the before quarantine time, she was a IG Live DJ where she would spin just her passions out to everyone. That the passions of herself, the passions of her friends and followers and family, mix those and put that out, into for everybody's entertainment value. And then zombie apocalypse happens. So with that, like I said, we have three different episodes that have happened, and Into the Fire, we get to know these characters more. So Ivan, that was that was a bit detailed. So with Into the Fire, thinking from a co-creator view with like, Outbreak Undead is like your baby that, back then was, was being swaddled and now is like 10 years old. Thinking of this campaign, like thinking of it in like a homegrown type of game that we just happened to do live on this particular Twitch channel. So for Into the Fire, you have these characters that have to realize themselves, but also have to interact with these survivors in Coopco. Keeping in mind the Coopco survivors, that is 60 to 70 other people that are heavily relying on them. They are the number one Ranger team. They just came back in from yet another run, which they were able to get the gasoline that was required for this, but they keep on getting sent out. They keep on doing that. They have this heavy burden on top of them. So as a co-creator for Outbreak Undead in general, what is your viewpoint on having this team? Where do you think this team should go psychologically and where they've been up to this point?
They're a keystone. That's both the good thing and the bad thing. It's a keystone. When you are reliant on one team to bring back the necessary vitals so that everyone else can be comfortable, or at least be self-sustaining, and you're the one ranger scavenger group that's going out there to get the not the essentials but non-essentials at the same time. You're not bringing, I mean, you're bringing back whatever food you can, right? And you see this in every single survival horror or long-term survival kind of piece of media. It's like that shit can't last. All it takes is one wrong move, one small mistake, which Outbreak Undead is a game of you are one dice away, roll away from dying, right? So, which is what the world is. So, and if you're always one die roll away from dying, like how as a system, you cannot expect to have the entire infrastructure of this stronghold exist off of the tenacity of one group. They're gonna need to train up more people. They're going to need more support. They're going to need more people training. What they should be doing now at this stage is, rather than taking their 4 or 5, having the elite team go out, as that group should now be dividing into 2 or 3 groups, taking on 3 greenhorns, and bringing one specialist, so to speak, for every single one of them, and should be training up these new strike forces, so that there's more redundancy when it comes to skills. Because in the apocalypse, one doctor dies, guess what? You don't have a doctor anymore. So a doctor needs a lot of apprentices in order to make sure that if the doctor dies, someone can still do surgery. That kind of a situation.
Oh my gosh, I love that you have brought that up. Like, absolutely. Like with this particular team and how Kupko is running things, and we have the leader Sarah Knowlton, who after in the first episode for Into the Fire, they're able to stop a zombie invasion that is coming in through the use of like fire arrows, taking out someone that got infected. And we have actually the medic of the group, which is Bean Lee, actually take out someone that was infected. You have Pharaoh that is scattering zombies before they're trying to like come into the actual like breaching the defenses. You have Madison, who warns everybody that this is happening with their crossbow. Lewis in the fray. I'm sorry, Nathan in the fray. Also, I'm gonna do everybody by their character names. So with having that, after they've finally been able to quell this particular invasion that was happening with this building, in episode 1 and the top of episode 2, Sarah Knowlton brings them all up to the top of the roof. They realize that the way that the zombies got in is that they like literally shimmied up the palm trees that are next to the building. I
That's
know,
dangerous. That's really dangerous.
right? Yeah, they established that they kept the palm trees for coconuts, and I'm like, not a good enough reason. You need to get
uh,
rid of that.
Put them on the inside walls. Don't put them on the outer walls. That's like that's like asking for that wily coyote, like bend the palm tree back so that you can flip somebody into the major infrastructure. And it's funny because in an RPG sense, like the advice that I just distilled, it does not make sense for like an adventuring party. It's like, why are you going to split your core adventuring party to go in? But what I also like is that in games like Outbreak and when things like Pandemic play and some of the other stuff, it's just like, but these are also the best excuses you can enact for like why a player didn't show up the next week. Oh, they're off training a new group, or there can be 10 million reasons as to why a group isn't necessarily in the same capacity, which is why I love the stronghold style of play in this game, because at the end of the day, Outbreak Undead is a game, a zombie survival horror RPG, but it is survival horror more than it is zombie. It's like what happens and how do you manage people, resources, and things, and the zombies are just putting the heat. They're just supplying all the heat to this pressure cooker, right?
Yeah.
If anything's going to crack and fail, it's not going to be because of the zombies. There's just the ongoing pressure. People are going to be the cracks and that are going to eventually make the Dutch oven explode.
Exactly. And literally that's what we run into on the second episode that we do for year 0. And with this, like Sarah Knowlton brings them up to the roof and then gives them a well, it's basically a pick of different missions that they can do. Anything from going to the aquifer to being like, hey, we need more water for this particular base that we have. To going to Van Nuys Airport to saying like, hey, can we secure a plane to go somewhere else? Should
Van
we
Nuys Airport. Hope you can fly a Lear because that's unique. Have you seen those things? I live next to the Van Nuys Airport. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But that is that you see those planes out there? I was like, those are very special jets. Woo! I hope you've got a pilot.
That's the thing. That's the thing where it's like, yeah, you secure a plane, but then we also have to like funnel out a pilot out to you that can actually, fly this plane type of a thing. And something that we understand with the mechanics that comes with Outbreak Undead is that the really super trained skills have such low percentages to them that because it's real world aspect when it comes to it. Like you as an individual, could you get to Van Nuys Airport and then also pilot this plane to take people out?
First time. Do it. First time. Never been in a simulation before. Pop those, flip those switches and see what happens. There's a really well-known, I was reading a Wikipedia about, oh, hold on a second. Just Kazi, who was the musician we were talking to that had John Denver? So we were reading about John Denver and his plane flight, like the plane flight that ended his life, and he was like a huge aviary, like piloted all the time, had tens of thousands of hours. He knew better, like he knew what he was doing. But even then, like he had an experimental plane that the investigations have shown that the fuel tank switch was out of his reach behind his main arm, and he couldn't switch the fuel tanks, and that's why they think his plane crashed.
Oh my God.
So you could have tens of thousands of hours on a plane and you could still crash this thing, is all I have to say. And sometimes, but it's those ones that where it's like, okay, Bean hops into a Learjet and rolls 3 zeros. 3 zeros is 100, so don't roll 3 zeros. But rolls 001, and there's a chance of like, oh wow, I actually got this thing off the ground. Flip on idle pilot, okay. And now, but then the next one is like, okay, now land the damn thing.
I have to land it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because it doesn't stop. It's not just one dice roll and then everything happens like magic. No, it's as close to real life. Excuse me. It's as close to real life as you could get with an RPG, with like being this person that you can be. We use pregens. We use the Outbreak Undead pregens for this particular adventure. And if anybody wants to know about like the pregens and stuff that we use, or the ones that I use for Pharaoh more, we have that in Hunter's Gathering with Alex Hillman when we go into it like a deep dive Outbreak Undead.
How'd that go, by the way? Did you feel like you had like a real, like when he went into the deep dive talking about, I know you guys can do character creation for that, but
we like hit the points of like the different kinds that you literally can do, where it's pre-gen, and I'd have to look at my notes, but it's the 3 different kinds that you can go into, where you can do like I'm using the term expedited right now because that is what we will be doing for this. Actually, after the break, I can say the actual things because I have everything written down in my super analog notebook of everything that we went through with it. But also our really awesome moderators can tell our chat room right now what we went through with Alex Hillman's deep dive into Outbreak Undead. And oh my God, thank you so much.
He's a sweetheart. Love that man. I mean,
he's our community guy.
I know, right? That's how he started. That's where he is. He loves being in the forefront because he's just super excited about what everyone's saying. Like today it was crazy when I get all the emails for when people pop in reviews for Alice is Missing. It just dumps into my email. So today it was just like someone posted about it on the Discord. I think it was Spencer even, but it's like just getting all those emails and to be like, hey, it's just fun. Like you do this a long time and you don't expect anyone to play the games, if I'm being honest. Like, and that's actually that's honestly the best way to go into this, is go into the hobby not expecting anyone to ever play your game. So it's always fun when people are out there being like, yeah, no, I had a good time. It's like, oh, really? Really? You had a good time? It's like, yeah, no. It's like, okay, cool. I I have trust issues.
Okay.
And Outbreak's the same way because Outbreak is a game that is meant to emotionally hurt you or at least shine a dirty mirror onto the reality of what the world is. And sometimes it's hard to say that that's fun, right? But it's also
You
just
know,
like you said,
it's
cathartic
cathartic.
sometimes. Yeah.
It is. Something that I want to ask you then. How do you feel? Okay, so our group, after a number of different choices to go into different arenas with things, they ended up deciding to go for a boat, a big boat or a yacht, specifically in Malibu. Uh, rob the rich, free the poor type of a deal. With this, and they decided to head from the not IKEA in Burbank towards Malibu to then secure a yacht.
It's a lot of freeway
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
PCH, and PCH
Yeah.
has a lot of not wide roads. So did they go and like take the up route, like the 118 north up and down, or
They
did they just
they
hit the 101 the whole way?
they started freeway and then let's
Off-roaded,
say hit some snags
right?
along with infected condor that
Wait.
were diving for them.
Oh, there. Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
California condors, so making them
California
more extinct, make
condors.
them more extinct. Okay.
Yeah, actually, Pharaoh was able to take one of them out with a series of shots. Very proud of her for that fact, and then had to go into surface streets to interact with a number of individuals, along with well, wait for the second episode, which is called "Everything's New and Bad." That was when everybody decided, yeah, there are
That's
fantastic
name.
titles for this.
That's name. Everything's new and bad.
Everything's new and bad.
It's
So
perfect.
yeah, with that they decided on what they were going to do and like move forth, and then on and that's where they ran into realizing that this infection could infect animals. And of course, the California condor, which was
Contamination, man.
saved,
Ooh.
was
Ooh.
then one of the infected, along with apparently a number of other.
Everyone's gonna go vegan now, dude. Because
Oh, I told you, it's
if
just
it's
like
if it's gonna go cross species, then that means it's virulence. Like if anyone knows their virology in any way, it's like once it goes cross species, that means it is robust and it's not gonna go anywhere. So I have a lot of noises in my house right now, by the way.
yeah. Well,
So just
you're a
an
family
FYI.
man. We
So
respect the
yes.
family madness.
There's blenders, there's the Hobbit, and now there's a Phoenix. You want to show them Frankie? Oh no, here did you knock me out? So
You're still
just 1 second. Hold on.
okay. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so for this, with what we are visiting with episode 2, we find that the infected not only are have a survival instinct, like you literally have what our people colloquially and I said that word wrong. You know what? Whatever.
Uh, colloquially,
Col-
colloquially, colloquially. Yeah, it's
yes.
fine. It's fine. Keep going. They have a
Yes.
survival instinct, which means they're actually have to
That word.
self-preserve themselves. In
That
addition to
word.
it is a cross contamination. It literally will cross species. So
They call them ragers. Um the yeah, that and that's not canon in the book. That is literally what we invented for the stream. So feel free to, take that if you want, because that's just what responded to our particular survivors. So but with that, we have like this exploration that happens with them, that happens in episode 2, where it's like you get to know, for instance, Pharaoh Moore's family, with her moms, Kirby and Leisha, that are trying to be like they're like foundations of Coopco. You learn about a lot of characters like backstories and what they have to do. They pile into this armored ambulance, going out into the highway, trying to find a boat to be able to take everybody out. And then one of the things that they encounter at the end of the episode is literally this infected California condor, which is diving for them. And Pharaoh ends up taking that thing out with a number of very well placed shots, which brings us into episode 3 called Friday Night Fights, where they they have to go off of the highway. They need to go onto the side streets, and they run into this gigantic metal wall, which imprinted on it says, and I'm going to paraphrase, welcome to the United States of America, but it doesn't say that. It's like, this is the home. Here resides the president of the United States of America. That is what it says. And they're all like, what? And then at the end of that episode, they hear a huge thump on their car. They do a brake check to knock whatever that is off. And then a kid like pops up with a detonator in their hand.
Oh, that's fun.
It's like, yeah, there's a bomb on the top of your car, which is an armored ambulance. Get the ish out.
Now, here's the deal. Is it a gas bomb or is it a
Like
C4 style directed blast?
Yeah.
Because it was a gas bomb.
Directed blast, like,
okay.
We are going to fudge up your ish.
Yeah, because if it's a directed explosion like C4 or a plastic explosion, like that's just going to blow in. If it's just like a bunch of gasoline tied to a detonator, it's just going to make a big poofy fireball, and it's going to like the car's going to be on fire while it drives around for a little bit, but it's probably going to be okay.
Isn't it weird that I love that you know that? But here's some extra info for you. Extra info for you. There is a secondary incendiary bomb on the bottom of the ambulance that one of the characters, specifically Madison Martell, has a detonator to, that if anybody else gets a hold of the ambulance, she can detonate it. So that is something that can, through any other circumstance, also possibly be detonated. So that's another one of the reasons why our individuals decide to vacate the ambulance in front of Logville, which is controlled mainly by children. And then also one of our characters' long lost brother.
Oh, Lord of the Flies laid into it right there. That's fine. The crazy part is that Donner Party will tell you that kids on their own will make stuff work for as long as they can. And I'm sorry, not Donner Party. That didn't end well for anybody. This was the original, some of the original. I forgot which was not Jamestown, but one of the original settlements. Plague got all the parents. It was just like 16-year-olds down all the way that were running into it, and they pivoted pretty well. Held the fields.
Chat room. If you know what this is, I want to research it.
Yeah, no, it's a thing.
And if you have any questions about what we're saying right now, we're gonna be wrapping up this recap.
Little breakup,
within the next 5 to 7 minutes. So just hit us with things that you have for AC character creation,
Phoenix,
or with this actual recap.
That's fine, because I can just keep going is the thing too, because the whole
I know. Which is one of the reasons why I haven't had you on before now.
I am the rambling man is what I am. So
not even.
But no, that's fun. And why not, right? Like they're allowed to go and raid just like anybody else, but it sucks that they had to. As B-Dave, I can understand like, we got to ditch the car, dude. Like the car makes it too easy. Like it's an armored ambulance. Like I either got to impale this thing or I got to blow it up. Like something's got to go. So then having them be able to circle back and do the boat, like, cause that's the problem with the Malibu. It's like they still need keys. These boats need keys. And if you think that like some dude in Malibu is going to keep like an extra spare set of keys just like hanging out on the boat somewhere, They're probably more likely to throw it in the ocean than let a bunch of, ragtag survivors go and take their yacht. You know what I mean? They're going to be the first ones on that thing. And even if they take it out into the middle of the ocean and then end up being fish bait, that's probably still going to be better than like dying a grisly death in Los Angeles. So,
Well, I think we all feel that. I think all of
like,
us are on
my
that.
favorite survival stories are like, we're going to go to Catalina. And I'm like, yes, you and every other boat in the harbor.
Everyone. I've had three friends that are like, "Hey, you want a spot on our boat going to Catalina?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't."
You know what's
I
better?
don't.
And this is my everyone's always asking, but Ivan, so you do the zombie game. What's your zombie survival plan? Groundwater, Nevada. And specifically for me, it's going out to high desert like Gerlach area
Mhm.
where on the whole, hardly any people. And trust me, like anything undead that wants to walk 100 miles in high acidic like base kind of heat and go there, I doubt there'll be much left by the time they actually get to where it is. And then just make sure you find well water, groundwater wherever you can, and that there you go. And then places like Gerlach where they bring in a lot of like temporary
Yeah,
stuff for
I
like the
was
burn.
thinking that.
Hmm?
Yeah, where it's like
Nope.
just take a bunch of water to like Blackrock.
Temporarily until, but you still got to go and drill. And the
Yeah, you
problem is
still
that
have to drill.
this requires a huge amount of research. Is you have to find out if there are water rights, and that's why this like preparation is key. The whole point of this, like if you want to survive, preparation is key. You got to go find out if there's water rights. And
Yeah,
okay,
and
so
you
you
know
don't
what?
own it, go for it. So,
Even though it's like doomsday or apocalypse or whatever, I still don't want to like encroach on other people's rights because that just brings worse things further down the line. Where it's just like, be respectful of things. And also for our chat room, I love how active y'all are. JB, if you're able to like pull up comments or like questions, uh we would
JB, do
love to
things.
answer
Hey,
that. Just like,
hey, JB, do things right now. Hey, pull
oh
them
my
up. Pull up
gosh.
these things right now.
Oh my god.
Can you like cut
Oh my
people's
god.
chat and impose them? Like put them over
No.
my face right now. Yes, son. Can I help you?
Oh no.
Computer, sweetheart.
So for those that are wondering,
That's
upcoming
JB, and that's
Markeia
Markeia.
Hey.
He's gone.
Yeah, nah.
Uh,
He doesn't remember me. It's fine.
uh,
Children love me. I don't take this personally at all.
the joy of by the way, I have to say, just on a blanket note as well too, it's been very fun and wonderful to watch B Dave be able to have an opportunity to be able to play as well too. I'm just happy someone else is running the game, if I'm being totally honest. Like, and the fact that B Dave's been one to like dive in head first to GM the game, manage it the way that he can. And we all know B Dave's running a lot of content on the internet right now. That man is
Yeah.
working hard on the internet, but it's still
I'm
good that he's still
telling
taking the
you.
time for it. So
Yeah. I did Ask Your Black Geek Friend with him.
ages ago,
My
right?
my dude is like doing the most with everything. I don't
you
want to
do.
say, black as fuck, but also,
His
it's kind
hustle's
of like
hard.
that where it's just like bringing that 100% each and every time to like every project. And I so respect him so much. I mean, he's the one that asked me to be on Ask Your Black Geek Friend when it was like with Geek and Sundry. Like
Yeah,
that
he's
was
had he's had
the
max
thing.
hustle as long as I've known him. He's
Oh
had
yeah.
max hustle his whole time,
Yeah.
and it's always good because you can have max hustle and not deliver. But it's always good to see him always
He
deliver,
always
even with
delivers.
max
He
hustle.
brings
You
it.
know, it's very easy to get like stretched out like taffy, and then it's really
Yeah.
but no, he's great, and that's the thing. If he wouldn't keep getting booked for things if he'd still didn't if he like did a lot of stuff but then just sucked at it all, right? So good for you for
Right?
continuing to not suck, B Dave, and thank you for running our game.
We need to clip that and send that to him. I need for that to happen.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so for episode 3, we had Friday Night Fights. Along with this, And I kind of went in with it with Caleb Cleveland, our art director at Hunters Entertainment, with it, like his perspectives on how the way that we could like make this happen. But you know what? I'm gonna like full out spoil this for you. One of our characters, Bean Lee, played by Madeline Wynn Bradley, goes into a basement to try to get a Michelle. What did I say, Madeline? Michelle Wynn Bradley. I apologize. Yeah, that's just gonna happen. Michelle Wynn Bradley went into a basement to get a full hazmat suit. Since she is the medic of the group that we have established, this full ranger party, like going out on all these things. And she wanted a full hazmat suit to be able to help the people in Logville. Because at this point, our survivalist crew has been invited into Logville because she is a medic. And then that's when we find out that Luis Carrazzo's character, Nathan Marquez, his brother is the president of the United States. Yes, I know. That's B Dave just utilizing, backstories in like the fullest. So Bean goes into this basement and ends up right before this, we realize that the infected can also infect rats. And as she is reaching in to get this hazmat suit, pulls it out and it is bitten.
Covered in rats. Just
Oh,
covered in rats.
on the hand. I'm sorry, it was her left hand.
Yeah.
So bitten on the hand by an
Rough.
infected rat.
Yeah.
Literally was going to die. That was a thing. It was the most choice
Really? Did we do
rolls.
Did we do this? Did we do this
Yes,
thing?
we
Did we make this have
did.
it be a moment?
Yes, we did.
How did they
Above
cauterize
the
it?
elbow
Oh,
to
above
stop
the
the
elbow.
infection.
Okay.
To stop the infection.
So that's awesome. The one thing that I will tell you, and I don't know how B Dave.
She did not weather this well
Okay.
at all.
He did not weather. Who didn't weather? B Dave didn't weather it.
Bean
Bean
Lee
did not weather it very well.
He did not weather this well
Okay,
at
yeah.
all. And like after that, there was like continuous danger where these spider-like creatures were also infected, and we had to rescue her from a library.
Yeah, rough.
Where they're like, hey, we've come to play.
Okay. All
Type
right.
of a deal.
Yeah.
And there's all things. Tell me your thoughts on this.
No, I don't know how B Dave resolved the like amputation, which I have several thoughts, but they're all in the like, here's the deal. So here's two ways. My one brain is like game master. Okay, chop it off. Great. If this is a chance to have fun and make this a moment inside of the story, like effing go for it. Like this is gonna be great. Let's do this, right? And then the survivalist part of my brain, the one that wrote like the hardcore red line rules for this game, it's like the moment she was bit, that was it. Because the problem with things that get in your bloodstream or are introduced into your bloodstream is that your heart pumps a lot of blood in a very short amount of time. So you get bit by an infected thing, if it's in your bloodstream, so it's if in their saliva and they transfer it over, done. But if it's just like blood on blood contact, like HIV AIDS, then as soon as that gets in there, it's just going to go through the system. So, I mean, she would have had to like chop that thing off in like less than 10 seconds to even like have a possible chance to have it go through.
This is why there are t-shirts. This is why there are t-shirts about like, I blame Ivan Van Norman for my pain.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. Is it would have been 10
You're
seconds.
like World War Z-ing this, my dude.
No, it's awful, but that's the challenge is that as soon as something's introduced into the bloodstream, it will very quickly be into a position. Poison is different because especially if it coagulates, it can take some time to go through, or even like an allergen. So it can go into your system, but your body might not react to it immediately. but like a virus or a pathogen, as soon as it's in, it's in. So unfortunately with that, like I would have, like, again, chopping, great, okay, fine. But then the worst part about amputation, and this is again where it's worse, the amputation, like just dealing with the sickness of blood loss, phantom limb syndrome, cauterizing, and God, the pain from just the cauterized.
Well, there were 3 damage dice that were introduced to any of her rolls. So there's
That's appropriate. That's appropriate.
bad.
That's super bad, and bleeding out will be very much a
Well,
situation.
we stitched that up and cauterized.
Cauterized, okay, yeah. So here's the crazy part, but here's the punchline to this awful joke is that all of the symptoms that you would exhibit potentially of the amputation could potentially be the same symptoms as an infection. So again, me being the awful person I am, I could have been easily, yeah, okay, you chopped the arm off, great, she's still infected, but she's going to show all the signs of being infected, but you're all going to interpret it as just, she's dealing with an amputated limb right now. You know what I mean?
God, Ivan.
So, yeah,
monstrously brilliant. Actually,
if it's cross contaminating, and it's that viral, then all it would actually take at that point, and again, this is where it gets into silly territory where we don't want to necessarily, like, this is just ruins the game for everybody, right? But all it would take is for an infected just to spit on you at that point. All it takes is like a little bit into your eye or in your
more of
nose.
the virus
Yeah, because if
it get into your stream,
right, because if a rat can bite you and it can get into your bloodstream introduced into it, then all it takes is for a little bit to get into any orifice, for it to be introduced into your body, which is then getting into like full hazmat territory, right?
Yeah.
So
our bean lovers, you were given such a beautiful
gift. Such a gift. And
gift by B Dave.
Yeah, it's super fun. And
follow him on Twitter and give him your love. Do it at B Dave Walters.
Yeah.
Do it.
These zombies will fail.
Like he literally said at the time that there were a number of roles that had to happen before her even surviving could be like our entire team, like around her were like, I'm doing this is happening, kind of a thing, and like rolling
there's nothing better than rallying to try to save someone and feeling like you get there in a horror space. There's nothing more than like, we did it, we've saved Bean doesn't wake up the next morning. Like, there's just like it for me, it is spoiler alert if you haven't seen I Am Legend, but there's a moment in I Am Legend that's like that, where it's just like, oh, that's the good stuff, so anyway.
Yeah, okay, but that is episode 3. Episode 4, which is called 10 Hut. We have our crew that is continuing forward past their everything they had to do with Logville, and they're continuing forward. They run into a military helicopter that is above them, and actually this is the clip that you saw where they're going from Logville into their next adventure. And with episode 4, not only do they run into this military helicopter, but then they also run into like military surveillance with a Hummer that is going into side streets. They have to go from the freeway they go from the side streets into the freeway, and they are able to
Chocolate man. Okay, go ahead, buddy.
They're able to go from that, like the roles were fantastic to escape the military helicopter and the military, just like what is it, brigade, military brigade that was going on the surface streets. They have to bypass, which is very, very scary, where they find out that the infected will make traps for people. And Ivan,
that sucks.
You said the Iron Legend stuff, like, literally made a trap for people that are trying to escape the military, going back onto the freeway, like on the underpass. Like, they literally make a trap with like anybody that is trying to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. This is a thing.
Traps imply sentience, which imply, like you said,
they
survival instinct.
they
So
ran from being outnumbered before, and
mm.
then we run into this with them literally laying a trap in an underpass.
It's one of the reasons I love Casey Whalen's world for We're Alive, is because he took the rules of infected or the zombies and turned them into something new. Because again, the whole point of survival horror is that the infected are the heat, right? So you want to play into it, because as soon as you start, in my mind, like as soon as you've established the rules of the monster, it's no longer scary, right? So as soon as you're like, oh, they lay traps now, it's like it's a new level. So that's a great way to escalate horror, right? Is you establish new unknowns, rather than, because the players will always want to get as much information as possible and will want to solve the mystery of the monster, because we fear the unknown. As a species, we are terrified of what we don't understand, so we will strive to understand it. So as someone who is building out horror, you have to introduce new unknowns all the time. So great, yeah, great, they light traps now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And then maybe one time it isn't an infected trap, maybe it's a human trap, and then what's that like, you know? So yeah.
Oh, so much.
Cool, that's cool though. So did anyone fall for it?
We rolled really well, and by that I mean really, really low, which is all part
Part of the game. Yep.
dynamics of this. It's like you roll bad, you roll good. That's
Right.
what
So it's always like I like to call it stat high, roll low. Right? Stat high,
Yes.
high stats, but roll low.
Yes. And we were able to just spot the fact that they were moving underneath the underpass, and that we needed to like freaking book the crap out, with this particular thing. And no, they still chased us, and they still needed to be shot at. But the very fact that they were lying in wait at the first available, exit onto the freeway after the military when you pass them, said a lot of things about the military, and then also about the infected. But okay, moving forward, when we hit like episode 4, all of this is in 10 Hut. We have to deal with a lot of environmental factors, along with California wildfires that are out of control and
Of
take
course
out
they would be.
neighborhoods. They take out neighborhoods because there's no one to,
there's nothing
no
there.
tell them.
No one's putting this stuff out. No one's putting this stuff out.
No one is. So
Love
that's
it.
like
Love it.
everywhere. So we have
Love
to deal with that.
So much Tinder.
And
So much
that's
Tinder.
the thing. Oh my God.
Have you ever been close to a fire, Markeia? Have you ever been like close to like
Well,
one?
I mean, if we're talking like Burning Man or like camping in general, I've been close to a fire like that. But actually, a house on fire, I have not been close to a
Man's
house
not too
on
far
fire.
from it, because that's a big fire. I mean, I would say it's bigger than a
Yeah, the
house
Burning
fire.
Man I
know?
have, and I felt that heat, and like when they burn the other art installations,
Mhm.
I have been close to that, and that is intense.
It's intense. Like you can't think straight when
No.
you have that kind of heat
I
next
have
to you.
to literally turn away because it is too much.
Yeah, so that's the challenge, is that like when you apply things like wildfire heat into it, and that's another fight or flight response, right? You feel that heat on you, your first instinct is to go away, which is one reason why by the way, firefighters are so amazing, because they go against every single survival instinct that is imposed upon us as a species. But then the second part,
what? Bless them. Universe bless them.
yeah, no,
For what
seriously.
they
But then
do.
the other part of
Them
it is,
and their muscle.
yes, they that's the thing.
If you're a firefighter out there, at Markeia McCarty.
DMs are open. So.
They are open. If you're a nerdy firefighter, bring it.
Bring it. But that heat is like, it is. It's one of the reasons when we were doing, and we obviously we played the narrative out of this too for We're Alive Frontier. We had a barn fire that was awful, and again, just being damn near close to that thing, it's enough to like, give you first degree burns without any protective gear. And again, I don't mind doing.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you douse yourself in like water, it is so temporary how much you can go into it. The only thing that really works is that like protective gel that they do for like full body burns and things like that. It's a unique kind of petroleum that does not conduct heat at all. It's flammable on the top, but it has zero conductivity and it just burns the top, but nothing, but it doesn't transfer heat, is basically what it is. So, and if you're not covering exposed part of your skin, it's just going to go. It's just so, California wildfires, easy way to
You
die.
you're a s'more.
There's more.
You're a s'more. That's that's just that's just what it is. And JB Jara, our tech wizard, had like a couple of comments with us, and like, please, with chat room, hit us with any questions that you have for Ivan Van Norman. You can be like, hey, do you stalk me online? I'm really good on this type of a deal, or whatever. Whatever you wanna ask, like the co-creator of
my
Hunter
favorite thing my
Entertainment.
favorite thing is whenever we do this, and this is the one thing that I always really enjoyed when we were doing live programming, was what I call them reality checks, right? Because we know in a game that's hardcore survival horror and it's all about being survivalist and it's all this kind of attitude, you never can get it always right, right? So
Yeah.
if someone is smarter than me about like wildfires or kcals or what it
Like
takes.
doomsday preppers. Oh my gosh. Yeah. If you're online right now as a doomsday
They're there. We have
prepper.
a huge. I mean, Outbreak does have a huge, like especially in the first edition when we were first starting this, it had a very rampant like prepper survivalist group because guess what? They can actually test their plan. Like that's the one time as like a doomsday survivalist prepper where you can legitimately say, okay, I have this, 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 and this. Pop it into a simulation. How do I do? And then role
I
play
would
that
love
out,
that. I would
right?
love that so much. In fact, if you like put that into our social media in different ways, either Discord or Twitch or YouTube or stuff like that, I would love to utilize that for my personal characters and see like how that happens with like not only this but in other scenarios. Like we have Altered Carbon coming up,
Yeah, if
you
I
know.
if I if I knew
Like,
three or
please.
if I knew 3 or 4 hardcore preppers that were actually interesting to watch on camera, because no offense to the prepper survivalist community out there, but they're very introverted, soft-spoken kind of people. But if there are 3 doomsday
They're
preppers out
they're
there,
prepping for bunker life.
they're prepping for bunker life, right? But if I could have that many, like that amount of people to be able to go in and say, like, okay, like, let's do this. Let's see what it looks like when you've got full blown prep onto it. I would entertain that show hardcore. So
Yeah. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted by what Phoenix was watching because I was trying to place the music.
yep. Here, let me. Yeah,
No, no,
they
no,
haven't
it's
watched it
fine.
yet. They haven't watched
That's
it yet.
that's my thing. Okay, so JB put this hand-sized spiders with blood and flesh webbing. As a biologist chemist, I can confirm Bean should have died. Oh, oh my gosh. And then also, they turned on their ambulance lights to scatter them before the turn. This is when we were going under the underpass to then get on back onto the freeway, and we were ambushed by the infected, by ragers. They hate light, so turning on the ambulance without the siren along with brights is how we were able to scatter them before we turned, and then they like chased after us. Smart thinking. Remember the fire that burned like 2 blocks from our houses? Oh my gosh. Oh
I
my
mean
gosh.
there's just little bits like, I mean, that's just when you get fires in LA, they just pop up and
Uh-huh.
they get put out quickly, but they do exist.
Yeah.
California has fires all the time.
Okay,
So
so with our survivors, they through a multitude of different things. I don't want to spoil the journey for you, but they come into Topanga Coalition, where it is a number of individuals that feel like Malibu is just too dangerous to go into because they have sent people out there and they have never come back. Our survivors then go out there to try to just figure out what the heck is going on. the heck is going on, dude? And with that, they find a very unfriendly welcome, an aggressively unfriendly welcome that, you know what? I'm going to say for people actually watching the finale with this, at this particular point in time, we are going to go ahead with our 10-minute break, and we will bring it back around to our altered carbon character creation that will happen after our 10-minute break. But before that, Ivan, is there something that you'd like to say for our finale of these characters that finally make it to Malibu and realize, oh crap, it's not a good time after all? What?
What did you expect? But no, I'm, again, survivors, it's just, you want to make a good story. But the truth of all survival horror stories is that you're probably going to die. But
Oh,
the joy of telling these stories is tell a story where you might live. So there you go.
yeah. Or you know what? All of us will die. How will you live?
Hey, that's a good one. All of
There
us
you
are going to
go.
die, but you get to decide how you want to go out. That's one of my favorite things to do when I run the game as well, too. Is if there is, if they do die, I like them to talk themselves out, like walk themselves out, so to speak. So,
Yes. So for this first half of everything, I've been with Ivan Van Norman, the co-creator of Hunters Entertainment. We've gone over the first campaign that we've had for Hunters Entertainment, called Outbreak Undead Strain Series V. That has been every Tuesday, but you can catch it on VOD for everything. Heartily recommend. We didn't spoil everything for you. There is a number of surprises that you can run into, including what is actually the pinnacle that is revealed during this final episode. So, but when we come back, we are going to take a 10-minute break. When we come back, we are going to go into an altered carbon, like deep dive character creation. During that, we'll talk like regular things with Ivan because he's just ridiculously fun to talk to with everything. But also, we will crunch those numbers for those of you that are looking to not do a pregen type of a character. We got you, and we will bring that back to you. So, we will see you in 10 minutes, and I'll see you.